Welcome to the Freely Rooted Mama podcast. Where I am their mother, I make the choice. Hello, and welcome to the Freely Rooted Mama podcast. I'm so excited you are joining me here today. This podcast is dedicated to all things motherhood. I am a wife, a mother, a daughter, sister, a friend, and a lifelong lover of learning. I grew up out in the country here in Washington State, moved to California for 8 years, found myself a husband, got married, had a baby, and brought our whole family back here to near where I grew up so that we could be near family. So we are here trying to raise a little farm and live a more simplistic, intentional life. So just excited to have you here. I have spent the last 10 years, I've had the incredible honor of spending the last 10 years in the holistic health space, doing a multitude of things, anywhere from marketing and social media to patient care to coaching to running a podcast the last 4 years. And with that, I've gotten to sit on some of the most incredible interviews with some brilliant minds. People like Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Amen, Libby Weaver, Rhonda Byrne, Michael Beckwith. I've just gotten to learn from some of the most incredible humans, and I've trained and worked with some of the most incredible humans as well. MDs, chiropractors, naturopaths, biological dentists, brain experts, detox experts, fasting experts, and so much more. And so I'm taking all that information that I've collectively learned over the last 10 years as well as my trainings in postpartum, pregnancy, and baby nutrition. And I'm combining all of that into conversations here on this podcast. Freely Rooted for me has such a strong meaning for this phase of life that I'm in with motherhood. Freedom, the word freely, freedom has always been really, really important to me. But even more so when I became a mother, freely for me is that I'm not following, and I say I, but I mean my husband and I, we're not following any rules, any conventional ways of parenting, of going through pregnancy or postpartum. In fact, most of my things here in Western culture would probably be deemed as woo-woo or alternative. Whereas in other cultures, I know exactly what we're doing is normal for many people. So if you're listening to this podcast, chances are maybe you are doing motherhood, whether that's pregnancy, postpartum, raising kiddos. Maybe you're doing it a little outside of the box as well. So if that's you, I'm right there with you. And rooted for me is, just being rooted in our beliefs, in our values as a family. And we have some really strong beliefs and values in this family. And I'm sure some of those will come out in episodes here. One big one is health. We have really strong beliefs and values when it comes to how we do health. And many of the episodes here are going to be encompassing that belief and that value. So just so excited that you're here to join me. One thing I do want you to know about this podcast or any content of mine that you see is to give yourself permission to give yourself permission to be your own filter. And what I mean by that is I feel like especially in today's day and age, and I'm sure this has been true for many, many decades, is that we are constantly being bombarded with information, whether that's information from the people around us, what our in-laws think, what our parents think, our grandparents, our sisters, our brothers, our neighbors, our friends. We're constantly being bombarded by their opinions, how we should do pregnancy, postpartum, birth, raising kids. I've definitely, come across some of that so far in my life, in my journey of motherhood. And then on top of that, we're being bombarded by what we see on social media, what we consume on podcasts and in the news. And that includes this podcast as well. So I really want you, especially as a mother, we have this innate voice inside of us that knows exactly what we're supposed to do, what our kids need. Yet I find, and even myself, you get distracted by all the other voices, all the other opinions, all the other things that come into play. And so while you listen to this podcast, I really want you to give yourself permission to be your own filter. Take what you need, take what sits right with you, take what sits right with your values, your beliefs as a family, and leave the rest. Yeah, just give yourself, and do that with any kind of information you come across. And I am 100% practicing this on my own as well. I just want to leave that little piece of advice. The last note I'll leave on for today's podcast, which I'm trying to keep them all pretty short because I know as a mother here that time is of the essence, juggling kiddos and work and household stuff and pets and activities. It's a lot. So I'm trying to keep these episodes short. And what I wanted to leave you on today was this poem that I found. If you're not following Raising Well Kids, you should. They have amazing information. I follow them on Instagram. But she wrote a poem, and it just really, I feel like it really encompassed everything that I feel as a mother, everything that I stand for when it comes to motherhood. And when I say motherhood, I really am talking about from conception, even preconception, really, conception all the way to birth and having kids. I felt like this poem just really encompassed it. So I wanted to share it with you guys today in case you haven't heard it, in case you're not on the Instagram world. And if you're not following them, definitely go give them a follow. But this was the poem. She stood like a lion defending her pride. From their judgment and whispers they sat on the side. Her choices were different and they didn't agree, but her strength never wavered. She said, "Let me be." They pointed their fingers and placed all the blame. "You're here among us, you must think the same." Her voice never faltered, and with trembling knees, she roared her great strength to say no with such ease. "I make the decisions for my child," she said, "what they eat, how they heal, and who sleeps in what bed." She cut through their judgment and sliced like a knife. She hardened her shell, defended their life. "For I am a lion, and this is my pride. They walk behind me, and I am their guide. I hold their strength, I am their voice. For I am their mother, I make the choice." So I'll leave you with that today. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, whatever's easiest for you. And I'm just excited to be on this journey with you.